Welcome to Hanging with the Hazes, y'all. I'm Crazy Keon. And we're going to rock out and make some noise. Listen, yes, this is a camping podcast. Yes, we do talk about camping, but today I need to talk about equipment. Now, most of the podcasters out there are using a decent mixer like a Rodecaster Pro. This is a Rodecaster Pro 2. However, there are some lesser expensive alternatives out there that I want to talk about specifically for one reason and one reason only. And then we're going to talk about what uses both of them have. So here again, this is the Rodecaster Pro 2. Okay. This over here in the other screen that you see is the Maono. This is the Maono Generation 2 podcaster interface. Now, there is a reason that I am bringing these two up. If you are starting to podcast, a lot of times you're going to go on YouTube, do a little bit of research, figure out what's out there. The one thing that is not out there is the limitations of some of the devices. Pluses and minuses are always good, but I need to caution you about one specific device, its limitations, but also explain to you where it fits in the grand global scheme of podcasting and recording. Now, as you see, I have multiple screens here going, which means I would like to be able to record audio on different tracks, because if I have a woman on and I have her behind a condenser, I might want to sweeten things up a little bit. If I have a gentleman on who has a very tinny voice, I need to customize that. Or somebody like me who's got a lot of bottom, I might need to roll some of that off. But you cannot do that with every device. So right now, give me a minute. I want to specifically talk about the Maono device, one of the limitations that it has, and kind of show you the workaround. So give me just 1 second, and we're going to talk about that. So what I've done is I've taken the Rodecaster off the screen and I've put the Maono up because there's a couple of things here that I want to talk about. Now, it does have the slidable faders. These are very important if you want control. It does have pads down here. It does have the ability to have 2 microphones. It does give you the ability for Bluetooth, and it gives you the option to turn headphones up and down. And as you see in the front here, it has 2 3.5 millimeter headphone jacks. What they don't tell you about this device, which is very prevalent in this device, okay, it has to do with the ability to multi-track. So let's talk about multi-tracking. Multi-track means you can record multiple tracks at one time on separate tracks. This device is not able to do that because of the drivers that it uses. I have searched all over YouTube, the internet. I've done research trying to call them. The driver is not able to do it. Whereas with this device, the ASIO driver is specifically designed for multi-tracking. This one you can record each and every track, either mono or you can combine 2 and get stereo, and it be on each individual track, and then you can select them in and out. Now, let me be clear. This device, the limit is the driver. You cannot do it on Windows. You cannot do it on a Mac. You cannot do it on an iPad, a phone, nothing like that. So the question now becomes, what do you do? Like, when do you use it? So I'm going to tell you, if you want to use this device, this particular unit is not designed for a podcaster with extensive experience podcasting, trying to create a show beyond one person. It is just not designed for that. And again, at $139, I believe is what it retailed for at one point. It is an amazing machine because of the flexibility. But if you are looking for a wide range, this one is not going to give you what you are looking for. You see the faders on this and the size of the board and the variety of pads. With all of these pads, you are able to get a significant amount of information into a board of this size. This other board just simply does not have the memory in it to do a lot, okay? So that is one of the things I want to point out with this Rodecaster. You can do so much more with so much more ease. Don't get me wrong. This board is an amazing board at a price point. I mean, it has a place. You can support 48 volt phantom power with the Maono. You can have a dynamic mic. The only thing I will caution you is if there is a gain hungry mic, like the Rode Pod mic, you need every bit of 50, 55, 60 dB of gain in order to capture the information in this microphone. On the Rodecaster Pro 2, I'm only running 50 dB gain. You're going to need all 60 that the Maono offers. The reason for that is because, again, $139, the preamps are not the greatest. The Revolution preamps in this are probably worth $300 themselves. So they are clean. They are noise-free when you jack the gain. And again, for a gain-hungry mic like this, it's doing pretty good at literally 50 dB. There it is right there, 50 dB. On most other inexpensive boards, you're going to need at least 60 or you're going to need a cloud lifter, which is basically an external gain situation. Will this board run this mic? Absolutely. Are you going to be as clean because you're running balls to the wall? No, you're not. And I'm just going to be honest. Multi-tracking, if you need that, you need to go to a bigger board. If you need a very, very, very clean signal with a gain-hungry dynamic mic, you need to go to a different board. This will work on like a Sennheiser 935, something that you can get away with about 40 to 45 dBs of gain. But for the Shure mics, for the pod mic, you're going to need clean audio, clean pickups, and you need to go to this board here. Lastly, the biggest advantage to this is that it's lightweight and you can literally record on a plane. It has noise gates on it, as you see right here. You got a phase loop that you can take out if you are having issues with audio going in and out, sort of like Mix Minus, but not quite. Karaoke, they use that a lot there. You have various degrees of wet and dry reverb, and it's okay. The pods are a little funky, but again, 130, 600 plus. You got to keep that in mind. Last thing I want to mention about the Maono Rodecaster Generation 2. When it comes to these pads, you only have 8 and they're 20 seconds apiece. If you're like me, that want quality, lengthy pod or pad sounds and effects and things of that nature, you need to go to a different board, because this board here will give me all types of sounds. I can groove out to like grooves. Like, I'll give you an example. Let's say, for instance, I want to lay a light sound bed. With this, you can do it, but you either have to do it with Bluetooth or an aux in to get length of time. You only got 20 seconds in your pads. Well, this, I'm pretty much unlimited, okay? So let's say, for instance, I want to groove a little bit. So I have almost a minute of this bass groove, and I can adjust it. You can adjust it here. But this one would have cut out already. This one, I can keep it grooving. Not to mention, I can stop in the middle of it. And let's say, for instance, I want to take this thing to church a little bit. Hear that depth? I am not so sure that this will give you that kind of depth. So these are some of the examples that the Maono can do, but it has some limitations. Whereas the more expensive boards don't. Again, there's nobody comparing this to an expensive board and talking about these limitations. So I had to put that out there for the folks that are looking to get into the podcast game. Keep in mind, if you're not real serious about it or you're just trying to try it out, there is nothing wrong with this. It is just not set up to have multiple people. It is not set up to put everything on separate tracks. And if you want to do that later, then definitely keep this in the arsenal because it has a place, but you need to go to something like a Rodecaster Pro 2, not just this caster here. So just kind of keep the differences in mind. Now, if y'all don't mind, I'm going to rock out a little bit with a funky bass groove, because y'all know Crazy Keon like it funky. And for those who are wondering, 98% of all of the music that you hear on Hanging with the Hazes, it's either me playing or my main man playing, or a combination of me, my main man, and my son if you hear the drums. So this happens to be my main man and my son kicking a bass groove that I asked them to do. So with that being said, thank y'all so much for hanging out with me. I'm hoping that this tutorial and this explanation of the two devices helps somebody. And if it does, make sure you like us and make sure you subscribe to our channel. Get some of this good camping knowledge. Make sure you tell all your friends about it, because Hanging with the Hazes Uncensored is here May 1st. It is PG-13. Some of the words and the language are going to be like a PG-13 movie. But we talking about camping gear, camping stuff. It's raw. It's straightforward. And as I always say, I'm out of here. Y'all have a nice one and camp safe this 2025 year.
Be sure to join us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and you can always catch us on Facebook and YouTube. Hanging with the Hazes.